What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So look, y'all, earlier today I went live, right? I went live after being locked up. Locked up in these YouTube streets after they gave my channel a strike. And the first live stream I had was it was me talking about, since Kobe Bryant's untimely passing, you can only say positive things about him. If you say anything that's not positive, people throw a fit, even if it's true, right? So there's been a lot of conversations about being, during the time that I've been off of YouTube, you know, because when your channel gets a strike, you have to be off of YouTube for a week. When you get your first strike, right? That was, you know, I got the first strike, right? Hopefully I don't get any more. Let's knock on wood, right? I saw people talking about, you know, this disrespect for being and all of that. And, you know, sometimes I think there is some disrespect towards him for sure. But then there's other times where it isn't disrespect, it's just truth. And I think since being passed, there's been a lot of revisionist history about him as a player, him as a person, accolades, all like it's been a lot of stuff just all mixed up, right? And I think it's because of the way that Kobe passed. He passed a tragic death. And so I think now, because he passed away so tragically in a horrific accident, in a horrific helicopter crash with his daughter and other passengers as well, it pulls on the heartstrings of people to where they don't want to say anything that could be perceived as negative about him. I'm not that type of man. I'm going to tell the truth, whether positive or negative about an individual. And it doesn't matter how you passed. I mean, listen, it's horrible, tragic. It's tragic, right? But there are other people who pass away tragically that people will still shit on, right? And so I'm not in the business of just. So I'm gonna say this, right? Because my mind is rambling. I've seen people trash Martin Luther King Jr. on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and say MLK, like, disrespect him. Oh, he led us astray. He the reason why we are in the position we're in now as black people. You know, he was the wrong man to follow and all of this and all of that because of him fighting for integration. And I always tell people, he was not fighting for us to be next to white folks. He was fighting for us to have equal access to certain things that white people had access to, right? But I see people denigrate Martin Luther King Jr. He died a tragic death, right? And people, I'm talking about people my age and older, would trash him. And somehow the line is drawn with Kobe being Bryant. To me, that's puzzling. And I'm not saying you can't admire Kobe. I'm not saying you can't respect him. I'm not saying you can't be a fan of his. But it's the way that people are drawing the line in the sand for Kobe. But it's not even they don't do the same thing for Martin Luther King Jr. They talk about Martin Luther King. He's a philanderer. You know, he had all these holes and all this and all of that. Based upon who? Based upon the CIA, the government saying that? Are we really gonna trust the CIA? Are we really gonna trust, like? We really gonna trust the government's word about Martin Luther King Jr.? Like, come on. Anyway, though. Anyway. So yeah, back to what I'm saying. It's like now people are really they're safeguarding everything about him to the point that they're just making stuff up now. Okay? In an effort to, I guess, preserve the legacy of Kobe Bryant, people are saying stuff that's just not true because they feel like, oh, you're disrespecting Kobe. I'm seeing people say stuff like, okay, LeBron James just opted into his deal with the Lakers, right? He taking that money that the Lakers got for him. He's taking it. I've seen people say things like Kobe being Bryant would have taken a pay cut in order for the Lakers to try to secure another championship, which is absolutely not true. It's not true. In fact, I remember during Kobe Bryant's final years as a player, as a basketball player, as a professional basketball player, His hefty contract was the topic of many conversations on ESPN First Take, and how those contracts that he had prevented the Lakers from going and signing big time talent, right? Kobe Bryant's big time contracts prevented them from signing big time contracts. Big time free agents. His contract stopped them from doing so. And to sit here and say Kobe would have taken less money, that's disingenuous. He did not do it during that time. So what are we talking about? And they're saying this as a way to denigrate LeBron James. Not even that's how LeBron don't want to take less money for championships. Not even recognizing that LeBron took a significant pay cut in Miami to secure those championships that he won there. But that's neither here nor there, right? Me bringing up the Kobe would have taken a pay cut argument is about people changing up the narrative. You know, now Kobe Bryant's legacy has become the legacy of a mythical dragon. Now, in a minute, they're going to say Kobe Bryant climbed Rapunzel's hair before a Game 7 against the Boston Celtics. They're going to tell us that he fought Maleficent in her dragon form before the second game of the 2001 NBA Finals, right? They're going to tell us the brother fought Rasputin with Anastasia before Game 1 of the 2002 NBA Finals. That's what it's getting to. That's what it's getting to. And I, as a young man, who I remember the whole Lakers three-peat run. The year 2000 was the year that I first watched basketball and knew what I was looking at and understood what I was looking at and watched it closely. I watched them play Indiana, and actually, to me, in that 2000 Indiana series against the 2000 NBA Finals, Jalen Rose is the best player on the Indiana Pacers, to me, not Reggie Miller, even though Reggie Miller is a great player, for sure. But anyway, yeah, it's just like the revisionist history around Kobe. I'm seeing people say free agents don't want to play with LeBron James. Players don't want to play with him because they realize how much of a cancer he is. I see people say free agents would have been lining up to play with Kobe Bean Bryant. And to that I say when? When would free agents have been lining up to play with Kobe Bean Bryant? Because they didn't do so when he was in LA. The last time the LA Lakers, before LeBron James, the last big time free agent acquisition that the Lakers had before LeBron was Shaquille O'Neal. They acquired Dwight Howard via trade, I believe, right? Did they? They acquired Pau Gasol via trade, right? Didn't they? Anthony Davis via trade. Anthony Davis only came over to the LA Lakers because LeBron James was there and Rich Paul is Anthony Davis's agent. Anthony Davis would not be an LA Laker if it wasn't for the fact that Rich Paul was his agent and LeBron is his boy. Anthony Davis probably would have been in Chicago, Illinois, his hometown here. Okay? But yeah, nobody was lining up to play for the LA Lakers during Kobe Bryant's final years at all. Primarily because they saw how Kobe Bryant treated Dwight Howard after Dwight Howard was coming off of injury, giving his all to the LA Lakers. After he had a back injury, giving his all, and Kobe Bryant was still labeling him as soft and denigrating him. And Kobe galvanized the Lakers fan base to trash Dwight Howard in a way, right? So no free agent was lining up to come play with him then. So I'll be wondering, where are they talking about when they say, these free agents would have been lining up to play with Kobe, and it didn't happen during Kobe's final years. In fact, Greg Monroe, y'all remember the big man Greg Monroe? He's no longer in the NBA. He chose to go to the Milwaukee Bucks over the LA Lakers. All right? Greg Monroe said, I'm not going to LA, I'm going to Milwaukee. So, okay. Anyway, then there's this revisionist history that Kobe and Shaq split up because Shaq was lazy. Because you see now, there's this push to trash Shaquille O'Neal and make it seem like Shaq wasn't that good in order to boost the legend of Kobe Bean Bryant, to act like Shaq wasn't shit. And newsflash, during that three-peat, Shaquille O'Neal was the best player on the LA Lakers. And it wasn't a conversation back then. Shaquille O'Neal was the best player on the LA Lakers from 2000 to 2002. From 2000 to 2002, during that three-peat, he was the best player on the Lakers. Bean became the best player on the Lakers the year after, to me, 03. But on that three-peat, Shaquille O'Neal was the Finals MVP for a reason. But now it's like we want to make sure Bean's legacy gets propped up in a certain way, so we got to act like Shaq wasn't shit but a lazy bum who didn't work out, who just did not care about anything. And yes, Shaq had times where he was not in shape and he wasn't healthy, but he still was not healthy. He wasn't in shape. He was healthy, but he wasn't in shape, and he was still dominant. And it was nothing he still was nothing you could do but pray when he got onto a basketball court. Pray and hard and foul him and send him to the free throw line. But, so now they like, oh, Kobe and Shaq split up because Shaq was just lazy and Kobe didn't want no parts of it. No, that's not the reason why they split up. The reason why they split up is because Kobe Bean Bryant, once he got in trouble in Eagle, Colorado, he went into the police interrogation room and told the police, I should have paid the girl like Shaq be doing. And the police said, oh, you telling on Shaq? You snitching on him? You telling on him? Okay, we gonna let the world know. You name dropped him up in his interrogation room. And it got out to the public. Shaquille O'Neal got wind of him, name dropping him, saying that, oh, I should have paid the girl like Shaq be doing. Insinuating that Shaq cheats on his wife, Shawnee O'Neal, with all different type of women and paid them off, which had Shaq's household in shambles, right? And Shaq say, hold on, don't blow up my spot because you got hot. Don't put my house in shambles because your house is in shambles. And Shaquille O'Neal wanted to snatch Kobe Bryant's head off of his shoulders, all right? To the point where they could no longer coexist. Kobe Bean Bryant knew that. Then he went to the late great Jerry Buss and said, either he goes or I go. Jerry Buss decided to keep Kobe Bean Bryant, which was the right decision. It was the right decision without question because Shaquille O'Neal was 6 years older than Kobe Bryant. By the time he was ending his Laker tenure, Shaq was exiting his prime. When he got to Miami, Shaq was really exiting his prime for real. Kobe he was just entering his prime. And they got 2 championships out of the deal. Great feat by Kobe Bean Bryant, But to act like they only split up because Shaq was lazy, no. It was because Kobe told on Shaq and told on his infidelities when he got in trouble. Now, I know people don't like to bring that up because they don't want to paint Kobe in that light because they say he's this alpha male on and off the court. But telling on another man when you get in trouble, telling on another man's infidelities is man code violation 101. It is a humongous violation. It's not an alpha male thing to do off the court, and people don't want to mention that because they don't want to paint Kobe in their light as a person who's a tattletale when stuff get in trouble, when he gets in trouble. It doesn't what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't paint him as the biggest alpha male. It doesn't do well for his alpha male persona that people says he has off the court. They say LeBron James shows a lot of single mother raised characteristics, and Kobe Bean Bryant had a father at home and still told on another man. When he got in trouble. But that's neither here nor there, right? Revisionist history. They like to say Kobe Bean Bryant never quit like LeBron James. He never quit. And I say, what happened? What was that, 2006? When the Lakers had a 3-1 lead over the Phoenix Suns, and the Lakers proceeded to lose, 3 games in a row? And they lost a 3-1 lead? Now, some of you all will say, well, on paper, the Phoenix Suns were a better team than the LA Lakers. They were. But once you've defeated a team 3 times already, that notion that, oh, the better team won, that shit goes out of the window. You've already beat this team 3 times. Close them out. If LeBron James would have went up 3-1 against the San Antonio Spurs in 2007, I would have said he had to close the fucking deal. Right? Even though San Antonio was by far a better team than Cleveland in 07, if LeBron would have went up 3-1, and they would have lost a 3-1 lead, I would have said that's LeBron's fault. They should have closed out. They should have closed out the damn games. You already won 3 games already. Winning 1 more game is not that hard of a feat after you already done won 3. But they give Bean a pass, even though Bean stopped shooting. He stopped shooting in that game 7. And they make up excuses. Oh, well, he was mad because the media said he was shooting too much, so he tried to prove a point. What fucking excuse is that? Cause he stopped shooting because he was mad? If LeBron stopped shooting because he was mad, y'all would call him a crybaby, a punk, a loser, so on and so forth. But for some reason, it's okay when Bean just stops shooting. He gets grace in the excuse that he was trying to prove a point. No, he stopped shooting. That's quitting. Also, I remember in 2008, in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, the second half of that Game 6, Kobe Bean Bryant took 3 shots in the entire second half of the Game 6 where they lost the championship and they proceeded to get blown off of the floor. Nobody says Kobe quit in that series, in that game, because he did. He's shooting 3 shots in the second half of the game. And you lose the championship, you get blown off the floor. That's quitting. But Mamba mentality, that people just act like it just never happened. So I'm just saying, this is the revisionist history that people have about Bean. You cannot bring these things up, or they're gonna say you're a hater, you're hating on him, you're being negative, you're just spiteful, you hate him. And I'm just telling y'all the facts. Also, people didn't want to play with Bean after they seen how he treated Smush Parker, a young rookie, telling Smush Parker he didn't have enough accolades to be speaking to him on the basketball court, even though Smush was his starting point guard. Can you imagine the backlash if LeBron did that? Peace.